नमः पार्वती पतये गोविंद नाम संकीर्तनम्
श्रीकांतो मातुलो यस्य जननी सर्वमंगला जनक शंकरो देवः तं वंदे कुंजराननम् श्यामवल्ली समालीढं विरिञ्चिपुरभास्वरं मार्गबन्ध्वा वयं तेजः तनोतु विमलां धियं श्रीमत्क्षीरतरङ्गिणी तटगते पुण्ये विरिञ्चे पुरे नित्यं सन्निहितं किला कलयितुं क्षीराभिषेकादरं श्रीगारुत्पतवल्लिका सहचरं मार्गे सहायं नृणां श्रीमद्दीक्षित वंशदैवतवरं संचिन्तये शङ्करम् इदं च रङ्गं त्यजतामिहाङ्गं न विद्यतेऽङ्गं यदि वास्तु चाङ्गं पाणौ रथाङ्गं शयने भुजङ्गं याने विहङ्गं चरणे च गाङ्गं कावेरी तटशोभिरङ्गनगर प्राग्भागजम्बूतरुप्रान्तोद्यन्मणि सद्मनि स्थितमधः जम्बूतरो स्थायिनः लूते भार्चितरङ्गनाथ वरदं भक्त्याखिलाण्डेश्वरी पूजा निर्मित सज्जलाकृतिधरं श्रीजम्बुनाथं भजे श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादं शङ्करं लोकशङ्करम् उमाकान्ते रमाकान्ते येषामासीन्मतिः समा नमामि दीक्षितेन्द्रांस्तान्नयशक्कविशारदान् अप्पय्य दीक्षितेन्द्रान् अशेषविद्यागुरूनहं वन्दे यत्कृतिबोधा बोधौ विद्वद्विभाजकोपाधि Namaskaram. So in the previous class of Dikshitendra Vijayam, we discussed the episode of Srimad Appayya Dikshitendra consuming poison. So in the court sabha, there was a Vakyartha Vicharam which took place on the meaning of the holy name Nilakantha of the Lord. After Dikshitendra explained the meaning of the name Nilakantha, Tatacharya gave him a deadly poison. And Dikshitendra consumed the poison and remained unharmed. So this is the first topic in the fourth Tarangam of Sri K.V. Subrahmanya Sastrigal's Dikshitendra Vijayam. So the first topic is Vishapanam, and after this topic is over, the next topic K.V. Subrahmanya Sastrigal says is Agni Pradarśanam. So in the Sabha of Chinna Bomma Nayakkar, one point Dikshitendra exhibited, he showed the presence of Agni Devata in his hand. And after this, the third topic which Subrahmanya Sastrigal discusses is Putra Prapti. It says K.V. Subrahmanya Sastrigal here, Evam Shivaradhana Mahimna Shamita Pratyuha Vyuhaste Pitranadatmanam Mochayitu Kamaha Aditya Stavena Haskaram Astuvan Evam Shivaradhana Mahimna. Through the strength of worshipping Parameshwara, Shamita Pratyuha Vyuhaha, Srimad Appayya Dikshitendra got all of his obstacles cleared. Pitrunad Atmanam Mochayitu Kamaha, with the intent of freeing himself from the debt towards the Pitra, the deceased ancestors. Srimad Appayya Dikshitendra glorified Lord Bhaskara through Aditya stotra. And what is this Pitranam? So we have discussed earlier that a Jivatma who takes birth as a Brahmana, so he is born with 3 depths. So one is Devaranam, the other one is Rishiranam, and the third one is Pitranam. Devaranam is the depth towards the Devatas, the Devas of Svargaloka. And then Rishiranam is the depth towards the Vaidika Maharshis. And the third one, Pitranam, is the depth towards the ancestors. So the depth towards the Rishis could be cleared by doing Vedadhyayanam. The depth towards the Devas could be cleared by performing Agnihotram and all the Shrauta karmas. And the depth towards the Pitrikal, so that could be cleared by begetting children in the Shastrokta Vidhanam. Putran Utpadya Dharmataha, so that is the word Shastram says. Taramarma Ishtuthukku Kalyanam பண்ணிட்டு இன்னைக்கு எங்க ஜெனரேஷன்காரா பண்ற மாதிரி பண்ணிக்கிறதுல அதுக்கு கரெக்டான விதத்துல குழந்தைகள் எடுத்துக்கிறதுங்கிறது வராது. So Putran Utpadya Dharmataha, சாஸ்திரத்துக்கு விருத்தமா மேரேஜ் பண்ணிக்க கூடாது. Parents offend பண்ணிட்டு மேரேஜ் பண்ணிக்க கூடாது. So this is very very important. அந்த மாதிரி பண்ணிண்டாக்க தான் பித்ருக்கள் சந்தோஷப்படுவா. தப்பான விதத்துல if a person marries, if a boy or girl marries and they get children, the ancestors will never be pleased. So in the first shloka of Bhagavad Gita, Varnasankaryam patti varadu illaya, patanti pitaro hyesham luptapindotaka kriyaha. தாரமர்மா கல்யாணம் பண்ணிக்கிறவாக்கு அவளுக்கு ஸ்ராத்தமோ இந்த பித்ருகர்மா பண்றதுக்கான குவாலிஃபிகேஷன் போயிடும். And as a result of it, all of their deceased ancestors will fall down from the Pitruloka. And as a result, they will get the curse of the Pitrus. So, all this has been discussed in 5 shlokas in the first chapter of Bhagavad Gita. So, to please the Pitrus is very, very important. To please the Vaidika Maharshis is important. To please the Devas is very, very important. And a person who wants to attain Sadgati should never get the wrath of either of the 3 of them. So it is very, very important. So to get freed from the Pitranam, Dikshitendra wanted to beget children in the righteous way. And we know that many different Mahatmas, in order to get children, they do some form of tapas or the other. Mantra japangalna irukku, vevera tapas nare irukku. And what was the tapas which Srimad Appayya Dikshitendra performed அப்படின்னாக்கா, he composed Aditya stotra ratnam and his own auto commentary on Aditya stotra ratnam. It is Vritti on Aditya stotra ratnam, and the commentary is known as Vritti on Aditya stotra ratnam. And what is the speciality of this? So we go through all the stotrams of Srimad Appayya Dikshitendra and his own Sanskrit commentaries on them. So only then we will realize that he was an Acharya of very great stature. So in the field of Itihasa Puranas also, he was not a mere, he was not just a giant in the field of Vedanta and different domains of Vedanta. He was not just the greatest giants in the whole of India and Purva Mimamsa Shastram. He was not just one of the greatest Upasakas of Shiva. He was not just a great Vyakaranam Vidwan. He was not just a great Agnihotri. So that was not so apart from this, he was also a great scholar in the Itihasa Puranas. So just like how we say Shruti Smriti Purananam Alayam Karunalayam for Bhagavad Pada, even Srimad Appayya Dikshitendra was a similar personality. Shruti Smriti Purananam Alayam Karunalayam Namami Dikshitendram Tam Appayam Lokashankaram. Apena, I paraphrase that shloka of Bhagavad Pada but to praise Dikshitendra. அப்படிப்பட்ட கிரந்தங்கள் பண்ணியிருக்கார். And in this Aditya, so just like how Durga Chandra Kala Stuti is a condensation of many sections of the Itihasa Puranas. For instance, even the first shloka, Vedho Harishvara Stutyam, so that itself, the Vedho, Vedhaha, Harihi, Ishvaraha, so these three words, Vedho Harishvara. So behind each of these three words of the first shloka of Durga Chandrakala Stuti, there are many passages from three different Puranas. So from so many shlokas from Varaha Puranam, so they are behind the word Vedha. Many shlokas from Harivamsha Puranam, so they are behind the word Hari. And many shlokas from Varaha Puranam, so they are behind the word Ishvara in the first shloka of Durga Chandrakala. And he has also kept certain the Bija mantras hidden within the shloka. So by chanting the first shloka of Durga Chandrakala, even those who are not initiated into Sri Vidya, so they will get the benefit of performing certain mantra japas in Sri Vidya. And then the second through 8th shloka of Durga Chandrakala Stuti, so they are a condensation of the whole of Devi Mahatmyam and five chapters from the Vayaviya Samhita of Shiva Mahapuran. The 9th and 10th shlokas of Durga Chandrakala Stuti, they are condensation of Devi's glories described in the selected chapters of Varaha Puranam. In the shlokas, they are condensation of the Harivamsha Puranam of Srimad Bhagavatam. The 17th shloka is a condensation of, it carries the essence of a particular mantra from Samaveda. So that is how the whole of Durga Chandrakala Stuti is constructed. So there are many Shruti Vakyams behind Durga Chandrakala Stuti. There are many Smriti Vakyams behind Durga Chandrakala Stuti. There are innumerable Itihasa Purana Vakyams behind Durga Chandrakala Stuti. So what appears as a very small stotram of just 18 shlokas, so it has many Shruti Vakyams, Smriti Vakyams and Itihasa Purana Vakyams behind it. In the same way, every single word of Srimad Appayya Dikshitendra's Aditya stotra ratnam, so it has different Shruti Vakyams behind it, Smriti Vakyams behind it, Itihasa Purana Vakyams behind it. Maybe selected chapters from Purva Puranam, selected chapters from Linga Puranam, Brahmavaivarta Puranam, Matsya Puranam. So they are there in Aditya Stotra Ratnam. Antaraditya Vidya of so one of the 32 Brahma Vidyas that is there in Vedanta. So that is there in Aditya Stotra Ratnam of Srimad Appayya Dikshitendra. So this is Antaraditya Vidya, is one of the 32 Brahma Vidyas. It is there in Madhu Vidya, this is there in Chandogya Upanishad. And in the same way, there is another Brahma Vidya known as Madhu Vidya. So that has also been given by Dikshitendra in Aditya Stotra Ratnam. So those who cannot study the Upanishads, so they can study, they can do Parayanam of Aditya Stotra Ratnam and attain Sadgati. So that is the mercy of Srimad Appayya Dikshitendra. And in the same way, in the second shloka of Aditya Stotra Ratnam, there is one passage, Brahmajyotir Vivartaha Shrutinikar Ghani Bhava Rupa Samindhe. So the second shloka, Srimad Appayya Dikshitendra meditates upon the Surya Mandala. The first shloka is a meditation upon the chariot of Surya Bhagavan. The second shloka is a meditation upon the Surya Mandala. And he says, Brahmajyotir Vivartaha. This is one adjective with which he describes Surya Mandala. And Shrutinikara Ghani Bhavaha. This is another adjective with which he describes Surya Mandala. And behind the word Brahmajyotir Vivartaha, there is a specific mantra from Taittiriya Brahmanam of Krishna Yajurveda. And Shrutinikara Ghani Bhava Rupaha, behind that adjective, there is a specific mantra from Shatapatha Brahmanam of Shukla Yajurveda. So each adjective, behind each adjective, there are two mantras belonging to two Brahmana Granthas. Of one is from Krishna Yajurveda, the other one is of Shukla Yajurveda. In the same way, for all the 12 shlokas of the Aditya Stotra Ratnam, there are many Shruti Vakyams behind it. There are many Smriti Vakyams behind it. And many Itihasa Purana Vakyams behind it. So we go through all of these stotrams and the Sanskrit commentary of Dikshitendra. So we will come to a conclusion that he was indeed a Shruti Smriti Purana Nam Alayam. He was a temple which enshrined the Shruti Vakyams, the Smriti Vakyams and Itihasa Purana Vakyams. So Suspashtama Dikshitendra altada adu paaka mudiyum namba. Avlo alaga irukum avaroda stotra granthangol onnonnume. So K.V. Subrahmanya Sastrigal says, Aditya Stavena Bhaskaram Astuvan, he glorified Bhagavan Aditya through Aditya Stotra. Tataha Tadanugrahena Neelakanthesha Umamaheshwara Chandravatamsanamadheyaha Manojavasaha Trayaputraha Marakatavalli Mangalambika Hvaye Kanyake Cha Udabhavan Dikshitendrashcha Tana Yathavidhi Jatakarpmadina Sanchaskaruhu. Thereafter, with the grace of Bhagavan Bhaskara, he had 3 sons. And those 3 sons were Neelakantha Dikshitar, Umamaheshwara Dikshitar, and Chandravatamsa Dikshitar. And 2 daughters, Marakatavalli and Mangalamba. Dikshitendra performed all the Vaidika samskaras according to the Shastric injunctions for all of his children. And after saying this, K.V. Subrahmanya Sastrigal says that, so he comes in one of these lineages, Neelakantha Dikshitar, Umamaheshwara Dikshitar, and Chandravatamsa Dikshitar. So these are the 3 sons of Srimad Appayya Dikshitendra. So in 2 places, so in the very first Tarangam of Dikshitendra Vijayam, so there is one particular shloka. So I'd like to share the screen here. So are you able to see the screen completely? Complete screen is available for you.
Yes, yes, it's available.
So while giving the Mangalacharana shlokas, so he says this shloka, Yaprapitamaha Janakas Sakshad Appayya Yajvano Napta Tattanu Jatatanuja Subrahmanya Karoti Kritimetam. So Yaprapitamaha Janakaha. So Prapitamaha is great grandfather. So Yasya Prapitamahasya Janakaha Yat Prapitamaha Janakaha. So the father of whose Prapitamaha. So the word Yat here refers to the 8th one, Yajneshwara Dikshitar. So these are this is the lineage of K.V. Subrahmanya Sastrigal. So Dikshita, the first one is Dikshitendra. So when we started from Srimad Appayya Dikshitendra, it was Dikshitendra himself, number 1. And then his son was Neelakantha Dikshitar. He had 3 sons, Neelakantha Dikshitar, Umamaheshwara Dikshitar, and Chandravatamsa Dikshitar. And the eldest son, Neelakantha Dikshitar's son was Yajneshwara Dikshitar. His son was Neelakantha Dikshitar. And his son was Yajneshwara Dikshitar. His son was Ramanatha Dikshitar. His son was Venkata Subrahmanya Dikshitar. And his son was named as Sri Yajneshwara Dikshitar. And his son was Vaidyanatha Dikshitar. And then K.V. Subrahmanya Sastrigal. So, Yat Prapitamaha Janakaha. So whose the father of whose great grandfather. So if we take the name of Yajneshwara Dikshitar here, his father was Venkata Subrahmanya Dikshitar. His father was Ramanatha. His grandfather was Ramanatha Dikshitar. And great grandfather of Yajneshwara Dikshitar was another Yajneshwara Dikshitar. And the Janaka, the father of this Yajneshwara Dikshitar was Neelakantha Dikshitar. And who was this Neelakantha Dikshitar? He was Sakshat Appayya Yajvanaha Napta. So number 4. So the 4th one in this list. So in this lineage. So he was Napta means great grandson. He was the direct great grandson of Srimad Appayya Dikshitendra. Yajva means Dikshitar. Yajva, Adhvari, Makhi. So all of these are synonymous. So he was the direct great grandson of Srimad Appayya Dikshitendra. So tat tanu tasya Yagneshwara Dikshitasya Tanujata Tanujata means son. So Tanujata Tanuja means son's son. So the son of that Yagneshwara Dikshitar is Subrahmanya Sastrigal. So this Subrahmanya, and that Subrahmanya is now writing this work known as Srimad Appayya Dikshitendra Vijayam. So this is what K.V. Subrahmanya Sastrigal says in the first Tarangam of Dikshitendra Vijayam. And after saying this, he says that he gives the list of names in the fourth Tarangam. Prakhyata Appayya Dikshitasya Tanuja Srinila Kantadhvari Yagneshas Tanayosyata Tanubhava Srinila Kantadhvari Yagneshas Tanujosya Shivamukhat Panchaksharam Praptavan Tasmad Buddhimatam Varasamabhavat Srirama Nathadhvari. So this is the first shloka. Two shlokas Subrahmanya Sastrigal gives here. So Prakhyata Appayya Dikshitasya, of the famous Srimad Appayya Dikshitendra. So the son of the famous Appayya Dikshitendra was Nilakantadhvari, means Nilakantha Dikshitar. And then, so his son was Yagneshwara Dikshitar. Yagneshaha Asya Tanayaha. So this Nilakantha Dikshitar son was Yagneshwara Dikshitar. Tat Tanubhavaha, his son was Nilakantha, Sri Nilakantadhvari. Once again he says. So he was another Nilakantha Dikshitar. And Yagneshas Tanujosya, the next Yagneshwara Dikshitar was the son of this Nilakantha Dikshitar. Yaha Shivamukhat Panchaksharam Praptavan. And this Nilakantha Dikshitar, the fifth in this lineage, so he had the Upadesham of Panchakshara Mantram directly from Lord Shiva himself. So this is what K.V. Subrahmanya Sastrigal says. So this word is very, very important. Yaha Shivamukhat Panchaksharam Praptavan. Tasmat, as a result of receiving Panchaksharam directly from the Lord himself, he became the best among intellectuals. That Yagneshwara Dikshitar, who is the fifth in this lineage, and his son was Sri Ramanathathvari, and his son was Sri Ramanatha Dikshitar. So this is very, very important. The word is very, very important here. And then he says, the next shloka, he says, Subrahmanya Makhitata Samabhavat Yagnesha Yajvatataha Tasmat Shankara Saktadhi Rudabhavat Shri Vaidyanathathvari Yagneshadhvari Nilakantha Makhisu Brahmanya Samgyasutaha Tasyapayya Makhindra Bhavya Vijayam Grathnati Teshvantimaha. So this shloka is very, very important. Subrahmanya Makhi, Venkata Subrahmanya Dikshitar. So he was the son of Sri Ramanatha Dikshitar. And then Tasma, then Shankara Saktadhihi. So from him, from the son of this Venkata Subrahmanya Dikshitar, was Sri Vaidyanatha Dikshitar, who was a very, very great devotee of Parameshwara. And his son was another Yagneshwara Dikshitar. And his son, and this Vaidyanatha Dikshitar, so he had three sons, says K.V. Subrahmanya Sastrigal. Who were those three sons? Yagneshadhvari Nilakantha Makhisu Brahmanya Samgyasutaha. So he had three sons. So Vaidyanatha Dikshitar, who was the grandfather of K.V. Subrahmanya Sastrigal, the author of Dikshitendra Vijayam, he had three sons who were, the first son was Yagneshwara Sastrigal, and then Nilakantha Sastrigal, and then Subrahmanya. So three sons. Adeshu Antimaha, so the last son of Sri Vaidyanatha Dikshitar. So he is the author of this work known as Dikshitendra Vijayam. Grathnati means he composes. So V அப்படிங்கிறது the word KV V stands for Vaidyanatha Dikshitar's name. Kங்கிறது ஏதோ ஒரு அக்ரஹாரம் யாரோ ஒருத்தர் சொன்னார். So after seeing my post, somebody had called me. ஒரு வயசான தாத்தா ஒருத்தர், some 80 plus தாத்தா, ஒரு many months ago he had called me. சொல்லிட்டு KV Subrahmanya Sastrigal அவ பேரன் நான், அவ lineageல வரேன் நான். So நீங்க அவர் பேரை சொன்னதுக்கு அப்புறம் ரொம்ப சந்தோஷமா இருக்கு அப்படின்னு சொல்லிட்டு he told me அவர் அக்ரஹாரம் பேர் ஏதோ சொன்னார், மறந்து போயிடுது எனக்கு. So அந்த K அப்படிங்கிறது அதுக்கு என்னங்கிறது எனக்கு எக்ஸாக்டா ஞாபகம் இல்ல. So that is reason he is K. V அப்படிங்கிறது V வந்து it is அந்த இனிஷியல் வந்து வைத்தியநாத தீட்சிதருக்காக அந்த V அப்படிங்கிற இனிஷியல் இருக்கு. So this is about Srimad Appayya Dikshitendra's Putra Prapti. So with this, the third topic of Putra Prapti is over in the fourth Taranga. And then the fifth topic is Shivarchana Chandrika. So among the 104 works of Srimad Appayya Dikshitendra, so Shivarchana Chandrika is very, very important. In this work, Dikshitendra gives, so he gives the method of performing Shiva Puja. So what are the different methods in which Shiva Puja has to be performed? So what is the Nitya Anhikam? So Anhikam means the day-to-day routine of a Shiva Bhakta. From waking up early in the morning and up to sleeping, going to sleep in the night. So what should be the dinacharya of a Shiva Bhakta? So how should he do chanting of Panchakshara Mantram? How should he perform Shiva Puja? And then how should he, what is the proper method of worshipping in Shivalayam? So all of this is discussed in great detail in the work known as Shivarchana Chandrika. So in this Shivarchana Chandrika, so in this topic says KV Subrahmanya Sastrigal, Atha Makhipungavaha Chandramauli Samarchana Nirate Swe Kanyake Kulashila Vidya Dravidadibhir Mahaniya Gudaihi Manditabhyam Varabhyam Prayichanna. Atha, so with the passage of time, that best among Dikshita Agnihotri Srimad Appayya Dikshitendra, he gave away both of his daughters in Kanyadanam. ஏன்னா பழைய நாள்லாம் வந்து சாஸ்திரோக்த விதானம் படி பண்றதுன்னாக்கா இந்த பொண்ணு ரித்து அடையறதுக்கு முன்னாடியே வந்து விவாகம் பண்ணி முடிச்சிடுவா. அண்ட் முதல்ல ரித்து அடையறதுங்கிறது வந்து அவ பேரண்ட்ஸ் ஆத்துல தான் இருக்கும் பொண்ணுக்கு. ஸோ மேரேஜ் ஆயிட்டு பேரண்ட்ஸ் ஆத்துல தான் இருப்பா. ரித்து அடைஞ்சதுக்கு அப்புறம் தான் வந்து ஹஸ்பண்ட் ஆத்துக்கு இன்லாஸ் ஆத்துக்கு அனுப்புவா அந்த பொண்ணு. So அப்படிதான் பிராச்சீன காலத்துல எல்லாம் வந்து அப்படிதான் வந்து இப்ப சாஸ்திரோக்த விதானத்துல பண்றவாளுக்கு அப்படிதான் இருக்கும். So he gave away both of his daughters, Mangalambika and Markatavalli, to two brahmanas who were Kula Shila Vidya Dravidadibhihi. So who were blessed with so who were born in a good Kula. So Kula Parishuddhi is very, very important. So they were well behaved. So both of them had very good learning. So they had adequate wealth. So all of these was there for two son-in-laws of Srimad Appayya Dikshitendra. And then it says KV Subrahmanya Sastrigal, Chandramauli Samarchana Nirate Swe Kanyake. So both of his daughters were highly devoted in the worship of Parameshwara. So that is how they were. So all of his sons, his daughters, his nephews and nieces, his grandsons, granddaughters, grandnephews, grandnieces, so all of them were great devotees of Parameshwara. So that is how Dikshitendra brought up all of his children and grandchildren, nephews and grandnephews. So that was the atmosphere in their house. And Tayoho Kaniyasi Mangalamba Prathamartavam Upagata Shiva Pujam Vina Abhyavahartum Anichanti Griha Paschima Bhage Vartamana Vridavanatavadana Pitaram Evam Vyajignapat. The younger daughter of Srimad Appayya Dikshitendra, Mangalamba. So when she attained her first menstrual cycle, so Prathamam Artavam Upagata, So on the 3 days of Ritu, so there are two doshas. So one is Asprishyattvam and the other one is Dharma Anadhikaratvam. So it happens for anybody. So Patinal Tindal Vandaku, so for 10, when the person dies in family, so for 10 days, all the family members get tainted by two doshas. So one is Asprishyattvam, untouchability. So if anybody comes and touches us, so the person who happens to touch us, so they will have to take a bath. So on those 10 days, we become untouchables for anybody. So in the same way, on the 3 days, a woman becomes, so nobody should touch a woman. And in the same way, Dharma Anadhikaratvam. So on the 3 days, she has no qualification to perform any Dharma karya. So she had to stay in a separate room that was there behind the house. So these are very, very important. So observing Rajasvala Dharma in our houses is very, very important. And Rajasvala Dharma paatama irukongradhu vandu periya thappu pannama irukkodadu. So we are not supposed to dine with a Rajasvala woman. So when the family members are eating, and the Samitra, the Rajasvala woman, she should not be there. And when a food is served to a Rajasvala, the Rajasvala Shesham, we are not supposed to eat. And we are not supposed to touch her. So all of these are very, very important dharmas which the younger generation has to observe. So not many people today, many people have started giving up all these. So this time, puja edum panna mudiyadu, kovilgalukku poga mudiyadu. So anta mari irukku. So this is something that all of us know. These are the basics of sadachara. So during these 3 days, it was very difficult for her to spend her time without performing Shiva Puja. And at this stage, so she spoke to her father and she requested her father, Peetham Vyajignyapata, she made this request. Pitaha Shambhu Puja Vidhuram Samayam Kshanamapi Yugopamam Manyamanaham Gaunenapi Vidhanena Shastra Sammatena Bhavam Pujayitum Bhavan Nidesham Pratipalayam. Pitaha, oh father, Shambhu Puja Vidhuram Samayam. So this time which is devoid of, so in which I cannot perform puja to Parameshwara, even if it is 1 second, it appears as if one whole yuga is going on for me. And it's difficult for me to spend my time like this. So how is it possible for me to observe Shiva Puja without violating the rules of the Shastras? So Shastra Sammatena, so the Pradhana is the most important method of offering Shiva Puja is Pradhanam, that is Vidhanam. So Gauna Vidhanam is an alternative worship. So when a person has, so when a woman is in her cycle, so she cannot do puja. So when a person is dead in a family for 10 days, the family members cannot do any kind of pujas at home. So at that time, when a devotee is so attached to Bhagavan and he wants to do puja to Bhagavan, how is it possible for him to offer puja to Bhagavan without violating the Shastras? And for this, Bhavan Nidesham Pratipalayami. So I seek your directions in this regard. Say, Tad Vakyam Abhinandya Pratyuchuho. So Dikshitendra appreciated his daughter's words. He felt very happy about her devotion towards the Lord. And Dikshitendra replied to her, Sute, Tava Jyayasya api Amumeva Arthamadhikritya Purvam Prishtam Samahitam. Oh daughter, even your elder sister asked me the same question a few years ago, and the same reply was given by me to her. Karacharanadikam Pratika Mudakena Prakshalya Manasim पूजामाचर इति. So acharati, tvamapi tathaiva achara. So what your elder sister does is, so she just washes her hands and her feet, and then she meditates upon the form of the Lord within her mind. So this is the Shiva Puja which she performs during those 3 days. So you shall also follow the same. Sapi Pani Padatalam Ambhasa Parimrujya Karena Karalingam Archichatu. In this way, she washed her palms and her feet, and then she started meditating upon the form of Parameshwara, and in this way she offered puja to Parameshwara. Imam cha pushpavati kritam Shiva pujam kamini mukhatah avagachata tatacharyena suchitah bhupatihi paredyuhu vidusham samaksham Dikshitendrana lakshya. Imam cha pushpavati kritam Shiva pujam. So this Shiva puja which was performed by a girl in her menstrual cycle. So Tatacharya happened to get the news of this through his wife, Kamini Mukhatah. So he came to know of his wife, and then he conveyed this to the Raja, Chinna Bomma Raja of Vellur. And on hearing this, in the assembly, Chinna Bomma Nayakkar spoke to Srimad Appayya Dikshitendra as follows: Bhagavan, Shivarchana Prakara Bhedena Mahyam Upadishito Bhavan Ityabhyarthayamasa. Hey Bhagavan, O Lord, please instruct me on the methods of performing worship of Shiva, external worship of Shiva. So the internal worship of Shiva is different and external worship is different. And to do internal worship of Shiva, Srimad Appayya Dikshitendra has written a wonderful work known as Shivadhyana Paddhati. So it has 150 slokas. So this is an internal meditation upon the Lord. So this is Abhyantara Dhyanam. So this is, and then Bahya Puja is all the external methods of puja and all that. So to show that, he has composed a wonderful work known as Shivarchana Chandrika. So that is the mercy of Srimad Appayya Dikshitendra. How to worship Parameshwara internally and how to worship him externally. So to guide us in both of these, he has composed 2 wonderful works for us. And after saying this, Dikshitendra understood the intent of Chinna Bomma Nayakkar. Atha ingitagnya te samadadhire. The word ingitam means to know the intent with which a person speaks or a person acts, a person behaves. So that is ingitam. To know the ingitam is ingitagnya, a person who knows the intent of others when they speak, so when they behave. So such a person is known as ingitagnya. So he gave a samadhanam to Chinna Bomma Nayakkar. Ho bhumi vallabha abhyantara vrityamatra rasikaha parameshwaraha. O king, Parameshwara. So the Lord looks for only the genuine intent of a devotee. So whatever be the external pujas or other external kriyas which a devotee performs, the internal bhava with which a devotee worships the Lord, that is very important. And there are many examples for it. And then Dikshitendra quotes examples. Pandyasya Kanakavetra Tadanena, Parthasya Gandiva Praharena, Shakyanathasya Shilakhanda Prakshepanena, Vanacharasya Uchishta Mamsa Bhakshanena cha Praharishyan Karunanidhi Bahya Sadhanotkarshapakarsayoho Matim na Vidadhat. So, Bahya sadhanams are those sadhanas that are done externally through the physical shariram. So, some people may have the acharams which some people may have, it may be of a superior quality. So, the acharas which some people may have, it may be of inferior quality. So, Bhagavan doesn't see all that. So Bhagavan, so Kasaha Karunanidhi, so Bhagavan is a notion of compassion. So he never cares about all of these. So there may be a great devotee, so strict or Badiya Acharam Venu. So we don't say that Vendam Pradinilla. Alright, the name of Madiyan Acharam, external purity. So some people may go to the extent of being too extremely rude and harsh with others. And they may not even have genuine bhakti within the heart. We see such people. And there are some people, in spite of having very strict Madiyan Acharam, they'll never be rude with anyone. They'll never hurt anyone because of their because of having an extremely high degree of Madiyan Acharam. And in spite of having a very high degree of Madiyan Acharam, they'll have genuine bhakti within the heart. So, Nalla Madiya Acharam andamari idu irko illiyo. The bhavam is very, very important. Some devotees may be very scholarly, so they will be very great scholars in the Shastra. Some devotees may not be scholars in the Shastra. And so among those who are scholars in the Shastra, some may not be having genuine devotion. So they may be making a show of devotion in the society. And there are some devotees, in spite of having a very high degree of excellence in scholarship, in spite of that, they will have devotion. So whatever be the case, the bhavam which a person has in his heart, a devotee has in his heart, that is what Bhagavan sees. So even if a devotee nalla Madhyacharam ella ummiyana bhakti ortharu devotee irukannaka, Bhagavan will bless such a devotee who does not have Madhyacharam. Many nariya examples paathirukom. Or சில பேர் Madhyacharam irukenu solittu chinna pazhaya generations ella solluva. When my grandmother, எங்க பாட்டி இப்ப இன்னும் கூட தாத்தாலெல்லாம் வந்து பூஜை சாப்பிடுற வரைக்கும் மடிசார் தான் கட்டிப்பா. அப்ப நான் பாட்டி சீன்றதுக்கு எப்பயாவது சொல்லுவேன், நான் என்ன பாட்டியோ மேல வந்து பண்ணட்டுமா விழுப்பாக்குவேன் அவன அப்படின்னு சொல்லுவேன். சரி பண்ணிக்கோ அப்படின்னு. ஏன்னா கோபமே வராதான் உனக்கு விளையாட்டுக்கு சொன்னாலும் அப்படின்னு. I used to ask my பாட்டி. அப்ப சொன்னா ஐயோ பண்ணவே மாட்டேன் நானு அப்படின்னு. So she used to quote some elder தாத்தாவோ அப்ப யாரோ ஒருத்தர். அப்ப there was one young boy, one of her cousins. So அவர் விழுப்போட அவர் அந்த தாத்தா மேல போட்டு அடின்னு போட்டு அடிச்சாராம். அந்த அடிக்கிறத பார்த்துட்டு அவ்வளோ பாவமா இருந்ததா அத்தனை பேருக்கும். அன்னில இருந்து நான் then my party would say, அன்னில இருந்து I decided Madiyan Acharam, I will observe Madiyan Acharam. In the name of Madiyan Acharam, I will never be rude and harsh with anybody around me. அப்படின்னா அந்த ஒரு தாத்தா ஒருத்தரை பார்த்துட்டு with her grandfather யாரோ ஒருத்தர் அதை பார்த்துட்டு நான் கத்துனேன் அப்படின்னா. Because showing compassion to fellow human beings towards animals, so that is also required. So that is what Subrahmanya Sastrigal says. Bahya sadhanasi utkarsha apakarshanayoho. So utkarshana means the state of superiority. Apakarshana is the state of inferiority. So utkarshanam or apakarshanam in the external behaviors of a devotee. So that is something which Bhagavan never sees. And then he says, he gives examples. Dikshitendra gives examples. Pandyasya Kanakavetra Tadanena. So in the kingdom of Madurai, many centuries ago, so once there was a great flood in Vaigai river. And this incident is recorded in the Thiruvanaikka Purana. So what happens is, in olden days when floods used to come, so people in the city, so all of them, so what they would do is, every day 2 to 3 members from each household, so they will have to come. And what they are supposed to do is, the Thiruvanaikka சொல்லிட்டு சொல்லுவோம். அந்த மாதிரி பண்ணிட்டு என்ன பண்ணணும்னா, so they will prevent excess water from entering into the residential areas of people. So this is a collective responsibilities of all households. So life is such a great luxury for people today, for people in 20th and 21st century. So in olden days it was never like that. So people had many great difficulties. எது எடுத்தாலும் அன்னைக்கு நம்ம வந்து everything is a very big luxury நமக்கு. அன்னைக்கெல்லாம் பழைய காலத்துல it used to never be like that. So there are heavy rains, and when even கொஞ்சம் கூட flood வந்தாக்கா it used to be very great difficulty. And people from every household, it's like one person will have to volunteer, and they will have to work near the river bank. And ஒரு இடத்துல அந்த மண்ணெல்லாம் போட்டுட்டு தூர்வாடுறதுக்கு பண்ற மாதிரி வந்து எல்லாம் பண்ணணும் அப்ப. So what happened? So it was under the Pandya Maharaja of that time. So he employed many people to observe how people are working. And one of the king's men who used to supervise. So on one day, so there was one old woman, ஒரு வயசான பாட்டி. So she had nobody in her house with her. So the Banji party அப்படின்னு சொல்லிட்டு சொல்லுவா அந்த ஒரு பாட்டிய. And this old woman, so she was living all alone, and it was her turn to send at least two people from her house to work on the river bank. And she was in tears. When her turn came, she was completely in tears. She had nobody whom she could send from her house. And she was praying to Meenakshi Sundareshwara, Chokkanath Bhagavan, Meenakshi Sundareshwara of Madurai. And Bhagavan appeared himself in the form of a young boy, a strong and young boy who was capable of doing very hard work. And he told her that he would go and do the work for her, on her behalf. And when he was doing this work, he was also being beaten by the officer who was appointed by the king. So that is Pandyasya Kanakavetratadanena. So in this way he served the old lady, that Banji party. And then Parthasya Gandiva Praharena. Parthasya means Arjunasya. So Gandiva Praharena is his wielding of the weapon known as Gandivam. So this is an incident which took place in the Vanaparva of Mahabharata, and Vanaparva, Kirata, within Vanaparva, Kirata Parva. So when Arjuna was residing in the forest, so at one time he killed a wild boar which came near him. At the same time, so when the boar fell down dead on the ground, Arjuna saw another arrow on the wild boar. And a hunter, tribeman, a Kirata tribeman, so he came and claimed that the first arrow to hit this wild boar was mine and not yours. And a fight between Arjuna and the Kirata took place. And this Kirata was none other than Parameshwara himself in the guise of this Kirata tribesman. So there was a fight between the two of them. And when all the arrows of Arjuna, so all the arrows which Arjuna shot from his Gandivam, so when all of them were exhausted, they had nothing. And finally, so what happened was, at the first time, all of his arrows got depleted. And then he started hitting the Kirata with his Gandivam. And finally, the Gandivam was also snatched by the Kirata. And then finally, there was a Mushti Yudham with Arjuna and the Kirata. So they started fighting with each of their fists. And when Arjuna was exhausted even in this, so all of his senses became exhausted and he was not able to fight anymore. And how was this perceived by the Lord? So it was, the Lord perceived this as a form of worship towards him. Just like how Krishna perceived every single beat which Jambavan gave him. So he looked at it as a form of Archanam. So in the 10th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, so there is a very beautiful story. So there was a king named Satrajit. So he offered worship for Surya Bhagavan, and with the blessings of Surya Bhagavan, he got a very rare jewel known as Syamantaka. And wherever the Syamantaka money is there, so there will be abundance of everything. So there will be every form of Aishwaryam will be there in the city. And every day the Samantaka money, it used to give lots and lots of gold. And there will be a lot of prosperity in whichever place the Syamantaka money is kept. And when once Krishna asked Satrajit to give the Syamantaka money so that he will offer the Syamantaka money to Ugrasena Maharaja, because the best among anything should always be offered to the king. And ordinary citizens are not supposed to enjoy it. So this is the dictates of the Dharma Shastra. But Satrajit was not willing to part away with his Syamantaka money, and he said he will not give it. And one day his younger brother Prasena, so he went on a horse and wearing the Syamantaka money, and he went to the forest. A lion attacked Prasena, and the lion took the Syamantaka with him. And Jambavan happened to kill this lion, and he took it to his cave and he gave it to his young baby for playing. And Satrajit, who was not aware of this, so he started defaming the Lord, saying that it was Krishna who killed Prasena. Because Krishna was, the Lord was having an eye on Syamantaka money, he had killed Prasena, and he has and he is now the owner of the Syamantaka money. He started defaming the Lord, and immediately the Lord went to the forest in search of Syamantaka money. And when he went to the Syamantaka in search of Syamantaka money, he saw an effulgence emanating from a cave. And when he went into this cave, it was at that time he encountered Jambavan. And then our Bhattatri says, Bhavantam avitarkayam nativayasvayam Jambavan Mukunda Sharanam Himamka iha rodhumityalapan Vibho Raghupate Hare Jaya Jayetyalam Mushtibhihi Chiram Tava Samarchanam Yadhita Bhakta Chudamanihi. So, Bhavantam He Guruvayurappa, Bhavantam avitarkayan. So Jambavan was not aware of the fact that you are his own Lord Ramachandra. And then he says, Ativayaha Swayam. So this Jambavan was very much older to Krishna in age, because he was there since the time of Ramavatara. So he was a part of Lord Rama's army against Ravana. So he was living from the time of Lord Rama himself. And during Krishna's avatara, he was still living. And that is why he says, Ativayaha. He was much older to Lord Krishna in age. Swayam Jambavan. And then he says, Mukunda Sharanam Himamka Rodhumityalapan. I have taken the shelter of Bhagavan Mukunda. And who has the temerity to oppose me in for a battle? And saying this, he marched against Krishna. Vibho Raghupate Hare Jaya Jayetyalam Mushtibhihi. So, hey Vibho, hey Guruvayurappa. He started hitting you hardly with his fists. And Chiram Tava Samarchanam, says Bhattatri. So by doing this, the crest dwell among devotees. Bhakta Chudamani means crest dwell among devotees. This Jambavan, he was not attacking you, he was not offending you. He was only offering Archanam to you in a different way. And Krishna did not perceive it as an offense on the part of Jambavan. He only perceived it as a form of Archanam towards him offered by Jambavan. So in the same way, Arjuna's attack on the Shiva in the form of Kirata was not perceived by Bhagavan as an offense. It was only perceived by Bhagavan as an Archanam towards him. So that is what Dikshitendra says here. So this word is very, very important here. So, Parthasya Gandiva Praharena, and then Shakyanathasya Shilakhanda Prakshepanena. So among the Nayans, the 63 Nayanmars, there was one Nayanmar named Shakyanatha. And every day he had a unique way of offering worship to Shivalingam. He used to throw stones on, every day he used to throw one stone on Shivalingam. And that is how he pleased the Lord. And I'm not going into the details of that story. And then Vanacharasya. So this is Kannappa Nayanar. Vanacharha means a person who resides in forest. So this is Kannappa Nayanar, the great devotee Kannappa Nayanar. So although he was a hunter, so the food which he had, the food which he knew was meat alone. So every day he used to hunt some animal and he used to offer the raw meat of that animal to Shivalingam as an offering. And Bhagavan accepted that as an offering. And in this way, so when Bhagavan accepts all of these external sadhanas of different devotees, he never cares about the superiority or inferiority of the personal acharas of his devotees. Yataha, because Ishvare paranuraga rupahi bhakti. Bhakti, so paranuraga rupa means bhakti is intense devotion for Godhead. So that is the bhakti. So ataha, as a result of it, upasana paryaya manasi bhakti reva tadarchane antarangam sadhanam. So manasi bhakti, manasic devotion towards God. So that has a different synonym known as upasana. So and this mental worship of the Supreme Lord. So that is the internal sadhana to worship the Lord. Mumurshavasthayam api shivarchanam karaniyam iti smritinamashayah. So it is the declaration of the smriti texts that even at the time of death, a person is supposed to perform worship of Shiva. And that is why there is a saying, there is very famous shloka. Tatastam riyamanantam kasthapashana sannibham aham smarami madbhaktam nayami paramam gatim. So the real devotion and moral worth of a devotee. So it is often, so this is, Bhagavan will test the real devotion of a devotee at the time of his death. So when a devotee has the remembrance of Bhagavan during his last moments, just like how Bhagavad Gita says, Antakale cha mameva sparan muktva kalebaram. So the thoughts that fill a person's mind at the time of his last moments. So the next birth which the Jivatma gets, so that will be decided by the thoughts that appear in the last moments of his life. Even if a dying man, so is perfectly in an unconscious state, so is completely in an unconscious state. If he was a genuine devotee of Bhagavan, somehow the Lord will create a remembrance for himself in the mind of such a devotee. So that is why there is a saying, Tadastam Riyamanantam Kasthapashana Sannibham. The word Kasthapashana Sannibham, the word Kashta is log. Pashanam means vegetation, a vegetable. So when a person is in the state of, so when he is unconscious, when he is bedridden, when he has lost consciousness, when a person is just a vegetable, a Mriyamanam, so when a person is undergoing death, Aham smarami madbhaktam. So the word smarami here should be interpreted as smarayami. So I will generate remembrance of my form in that devotee's mind. And madbhaktam paramam gatim nayami. In this way, I will lead my devotee to the highest gati. So this is the declaration of the one. And with this, I will finish today's class of Dikshitendra. Hara Namah Parvati Pataye Hara Hara Mahadeva.